He posted our picture with the caption, "Settling for now." So I packed my bags and disappeared. My name is Adriana Brennan. I'm 28 years old. And until that morning, I honestly thought I'd finally found peace. Lewis Miller wasn't like the men I used to fall for. He was steady, polite, the kind of man who showed up early instead of making excuses. We met at a friend's birthday party 2 years ago. He'd spilled his drink on my shoes, apologized so sincerely that I laughed instead of getting angry. That was Lewis, apologetic, safe, a little predictable. After years of messy heartbreak, I convinced myself that predictable was good. We built routines that felt like comfort him cooking pasta while I folded laundry weekend road trips, soft laughter over Netflix. He'd smile and say, "You make my life calmer, Adriana." I thought that was a compliment. Maybe it was at first. But over time, the compliments started coming with edges. At dinners with his friends, they'd tease him about my little Corolla. He'd grin and say, "Hey, it's not exciting, but at least it starts." Everyone laughed. I did too, even as something inside me wilted. Once scrolling through Instagram, he stopped at one of those sappy couple quotes. "Find someone who feels like home," and muttered, "You're not my soulmate, Adriana." "But you're good for me." "Excuse me," I'd asked. He kissed my forehead. "Relax. You're stable. Stability is rare." I told myself he just had a strange sense of humor. Maybe that's what happens when you're tired of the chaos. You start mistaking small insults for honesty. Still, I ignored the warning signs, the way his eyes lingered too long when an old girlfriend texted the half smile he'd give when strangers flirted back. I didn't want to be the jealous one. I wanted to be the calm one, the cool girlfriend. The safe harbor. That Sunday morning, everything cracked. We went to a little cafe near the park. He ordered an avocado toast and a mimosa, his usual. When a stranger offered to take our picture, we leaned into each other, smiling. It looked perfect, the kind of photo couples frame. While I was stirring sugar into my coffee, Lewis was already uploading it to Instagram. I didn't think twice until my phone buzzed with a message from my best friend Tess. "Adriana, tell me that caption is a joke." My heart stumbled. I opened Instagram. There it was. Our smiling faces under bold letters, "Settling for now." For a moment, I actually refreshed the page, thinking I'd misread it. But no, the likes were climbing. Comments, too. "Hello, old savage." At least he's honest, girl, what? Heat climbed up my neck. My stomach twisted. I looked across the table. Lewis was humming, scrolling on his phone, completely at ease. "Lewis," I said carefully, "what's that caption supposed to mean?" He looked up like I'd asked about the weather. "What caption?" "Settling for now," under our picture. He smirked. "Oh, come on, you're taking that seriously. It's a joke. Chill." "A joke? You thought it'd be funny to tell the world you're settling for me?" He laughed lightly, sipping his mimosa. "Babe, everyone posts the same cheesy stuff. I want it to be different. It's sarcasm. My friends will get it." "My friends don't," I said. "They're already texting me." He rolled his eyes. "That's because your friends are uptight. You're being sensitive again." The word sensitive hit harder than the caption. It wasn't teasing, it was dismissal. I stared at him. "You just announced to hundreds of people that I'm a placeholder, Lewis." He set his phone down, annoyed. "You're twisting it. I didn't say you're a placeholder. I said settling for now. Meaning you're the kind of person someone settles with. For life. That's a compliment." I felt the air leave my lungs. For life. He meant boring. He meant safe. He reached for my hand. "Don't ruin brunch over a caption." I pulled away. My voice came out steady. "You meant it, didn't you?" For the briefest second, his eyes flickered guilt, maybe, but then came the smirk again. "You're overreacting. If this is how you handle a joke, maybe that's the real issue." The chatter of the cafe blurred. Silverware clinked. Someone laughed at another table. Sunlight hit the empty glass between us, and something inside me just stilled. I pushed my chair back quietly. "Right," I said. "You could do worse." His brow furrowed. "What's that supposed to—" But I didn't let him finish. I stood, left a few bills on the table, and walked out. He didn't follow. He never does when it matters. Back at his apartment, he sprawled on the couch, scrolling TikTok as I slipped into the bedroom. I packed only what was mine: laptop, toothbrush, 2 shirts. I didn't slam doors. I didn't make a scene. I just zipped. The bag, looked around one last time, and walked past him. "Where are you going?" he asked without looking up. "Home. Don't sulk all day. Seriously, lighten up." I nodded. "Sure." The door clicked shut behind me. By the time I reached my car, my phone was already vibrating. "Lewis, are you seriously leaving over a caption, Lewis?" "Wow. Drama much?" Lewis, grow up, Adriana. I turned the phone face down on the passenger seat. That night, the calls came 6 in a row, then a voicemail, his voice half drunk, pleading and mocking all at once. Everyone knew it was a joke. Stop acting like the victim. Call me back. I didn't. The next morning, more texts. Unbelievable. You're ghosting me. You'll never find someone as patient as me. Don't bother coming back. I blocked the number, then his Instagram, then every trace of him. It wasn't rage I felt. It was relief, the kind that burns clean. That evening, I sat by my window watching the city lights and whispered to myself, he wanted to be funny. He just didn't realize the punchline would be him. And somewhere in that silence, something inside me finally exhaled. Silence is supposed to feel empty. But that week, my silence had weight. It pressed on Lewis heavier than any fight could have. I didn't block him out of spite. I did it for oxygen. For the first time in years, my phone wasn't a battlefield. No pings, no sarcastic texts disguised as love, just quiet. At first, it was peaceful. I cooked dinner for one, watched the city through my balcony, let the hum of traffic replace his voice. But peace never stays clean for long, not when the internet gets involved. By Wednesday, 3 people had sent me screenshots of his post. Not just close friends, co-workers, old classmates, even my cousin. Someone had shared it in a private Facebook group with the caption, "Imagine your boyfriend posting this about you." From there, it spread like wildfire. Every few hours, another message popped up. "Adriana, are you okay?" This Lewis guy really said that, girl. I'd delete my account if I were him. I didn't answer any of them. I didn't have to. The internet was already speaking for me. Meanwhile, Lewis tried damage control. He changed the caption from "settling for now" to "Sunday brunch with my love." But screenshots are forever, and the comments under every repost were brutal. Too late, bro. She dodged a bullet. You can't unpost disrespect. By Friday, even people at his office had seen it. A mutual friend texted me, "He's furious. Says everyone's twisting his words." I just smiled at my phone and whispered, "They didn't twist anything. They just stopped pretending it was funny." Then came the email. He had nowhere else to reach me, so he wrote one long message with the subject line, "You're making this worse. Adriana, I can't believe you're ignoring me over this. Everyone's turning it into a big deal because you're not clarifying anything. You know me," I joke. "My friends got it, yours didn't. Now people think I'm some monster and it's partly your fault. If you cared, you'd tell them I didn't mean it that way. Call me so we can fix this." I read it twice. Then once more slowly because I wanted to be sure I wasn't hallucinating. He'd embarrassed me publicly, and now he wanted me to fix his reputation. I deleted the email. No reply. No closure, just gone. That weekend, Tess came over with takeout and her usual protective energy. "Girl, if I see his name on my feed one more time, I'm reporting it for spam," she muttered, plopping onto my couch. I laughed, the first real laugh in days. "Don't waste your energy." She studied me. "You're not mad." I shrugged. I was. Then I realized he doesn't deserve my anger. That's attention. And that's all he ever wanted. Tess smiled slow and proud. "That's growth, babe." I nodded, but part of me still trembled inside, not from heartbreak, but from realization. I'd built an entire relationship around not making noise, trying to be the calm one, the forgiving one. Now my silence was the only thing he couldn't control. A few days later, another mutual friend, Rachel, called. "You'll love this," she said. One of Lewis's coworkers made a joke in the office, asked if he was still settling for now. He lost it, started yelling. HR got involved. I covered my mouth, half gasping, half laughing. "Oh no." "Oh yes," Rachel said. "Apparently he stormed out. Said everyone's obsessed with him. Guess who isn't?" "Me," I said softly. When I hung up, I sat by the window again, the same spot I'd cried in the first night I left him. But now the air felt different. Still heavy, but lighter somehow. Like the world was rearranging itself around the truth. Because sometimes silence isn't revenge, it's revelation. And the longer I stayed silent, the louder it became. Karma doesn't announce itself. It just shows up quietly, sits down beside you, and whispers, "Watch." Weeks passed. I didn't reach out. I didn't stalk his social media, but people kept sending me updates, uninvited little gifts from the universe. Apparently, Lewis had been trying to rebuild his cool guy image online. Posting gym selfies, expensive cocktail stories with captions like, "Some jokes go over people's heads." The irony. Every time he posted, someone commented a single word, "settling." It became his scarlet letter. Then came the part I didn't expect, the fall. One of our mutual friends, Marcus, texted me late one night. He's been seeing Natalie again. My stomach twisted at the name. Natalie, the glamorous ex who worked in marketing, always traveling, always posting photos that looked like perfume ads. The one he'd once told me was too dramatic for real life. I typed back good for him. But Marcus replied, "It's not what you think. You'll see." And I did. A few days later, screenshots flooded group chats. Natalie had posted a picture of Lewis's car with the caption, "Now this is exciting." The comments were ruthless. "Is this the settling for now guy girl? No, don't downgrade yourself like that." Within hours, the internet had stitched his past to his present. People reposted the old brunch photo beside Natalie's new one, captioning it, "From settling to settled." I almost felt bad for him. Almost. But then I remembered sitting across from him that morning, his smirk, the way he said, "You're being sensitive." And suddenly my sympathy evaporated. A week later, Marcus called again, barely able to speak through laughter. Guess what? Natalie dumped him. What happened? She found out he bragged about her to his friends, called her a rebound, said he was just proving he could still pull someone exciting. I didn't respond right away. I just looked out my window, the city lights glittering like they were in on the joke. So now Marcus continued, she told everyone. Apparently, she said, and I quote, "He's not an upgrade. He's the commercial break between relationships." I couldn't help it. I laughed, out loud. It felt cleansing like an exorcism. The next morning, Tess sent me a meme. Someone had made a collage of Lewis's caption, Natalie's car photo, and the comment thread full of roast emojis. The title read, "When your sarcasm turns into your biography." For the first time, I didn't feel humiliated by the internet. I felt avenged by it. But it wasn't about revenge anymore. Watching him drown in the same public ridicule he'd thrown at me wasn't satisfying. It was clarifying. He wasn't cruel because of me. He was cruel because that's who he was. Later that week, an unfamiliar email address popped into my inbox. No subject line, just, "I miss you. I know I messed up. Please don't hate me. You're the only one who ever really cared about me." I didn't reply. He sent another one 2 days later. "Everyone's turned on me. Natalie used me. My coworkers are making jokes. I just need someone who remembers who I am. Please, Adriana, just talk to me." I closed my laptop slowly, my reflection ghosting on the screen. For a moment, I almost pitied him. But then a sharper thought cut through. He wasn't sorry for what he did. He was sorry for what it cost him. That night, Tess called. You see his latest post. No, he's trying to rebrand. Posted a quote that said, "Real men own their mistakes." Then he turned off comments. I smiled faintly. That's progress, or damage control. She snorted. Same thing in his world. When I hung up, I realized I hadn't cried in weeks. My anger had cooled into something steadier, acceptance. Lewis had called me stable once, like it was an insult. But maybe stability isn't dull. Maybe it's strength that doesn't need an audience. And for the first time in years, I slept through the night. The world was finally quiet again. And in that silence, I heard Karma laugh. You can always tell when someone starts to lose control of their own story. They start rewriting it, loudly. For Lewis, it began with late-night emails. At first, they were calm, long paragraphs filled with nostalgia and self-pity. Adriana, I miss how we used to be. You were my balance. I didn't realize how much I needed you until you left. Then came the guilt trips. Everyone's making me out to be the bad guy. You know me better than that. Why are you letting them twist everything? And when I still didn't respond, the tone changed. Fine, ignore me. But don't pretend you didn't love me too. You'll come back eventually. I didn't answer a single one. I didn't even open most of them, just saw the preview lines in my inbox and deleted them unread. At first, I thought the silence would drive him away, but I underestimated how far desperation can drag a person when their ego's bleeding. When the emails stopped, the random numbers started. Unknown callers at odd hours. Blocked IDs leaving voicemails with muffled breathing or whispered, "Hey, it's me. Can we talk?" It was pathetic but also terrifying in its persistence. Then came the letters. Actual handwritten letters slipped under my apartment door. The first one started simple. "Remember, Miami, you said you'd never leave me. We can still fix this. Please, just one more chance." The second came a week later. "I see your lights on at night. I know you're home. Why won't you talk to me?" That one made my stomach drop. I checked the hallway cameras the next morning. Sure enough, there he was, 2:13 a.m., hoodie up, standing outside my door for nearly 10 minutes before slipping the note under and leaving. I saved the footage, but I didn't call the police. Not yet. Part of me still hoped he'd just get tired and disappear. Tess didn't agree. Adriana. This isn't romantic. It's obsession, she said, voice sharp over the phone. I know, I whispered. Then stop treating it like a phase. He's not trying to win you back. He's trying to win control back. That sentence stuck with me, because she was right. Every call, every letter, every I miss you wasn't about love. It was about power. Louis wasn't mourning me. He was mourning the version of himself that had control over me. I'd taken that from him the moment I stopped reacting. So I stayed quiet, didn't post, didn't reply, didn't even vent to friends anymore. My silence became my armor. And the quieter I became, the louder he unraveled. One night, the doorman texted me, "Hey, someone dropped off a bag for you. Said it's from Louis." I told him to throw it out. He hesitated. "You sure there's a framed photo in it?" That was all I needed to hear. Trash it. The next morning, there was another email. No subject. Just, "You threw away the only proof we had. Guess that's what I get for loving someone cold." I didn't respond. By month 2, even his anger was cracking. The tone shifted again from rage to desperation to pleading. "Please just tell me you hate me. Anything. I can't stand this silence. You don't have to take me back. Just don't pretend I never mattered." Reading those words, I felt something strange. Not pity, not fear, just clarity. He wasn't chasing me anymore. He was chasing forgiveness because forgiveness would mean he could stop feeling guilty. But I wasn't going to give that to him. Forgiveness wasn't owed, it was earned, and he hadn't even started. The last message he ever managed to send came from yet another unknown number. It read, "If you don't reply, I'll come find you. I need to see you." That was the moment I stopped hoping he'd fade away. I saved the text, forwarded it to a friend who worked in property management, and by the end of the week, I had a new lock, a new number, and a new rule for myself. No more ghosts. Because ghosts only haunt places that welcome them, and I was done living in haunted spaces. It had been almost 6 months since I'd heard from Louis. By then, his name had faded into a quiet part of my mind, the kind of thought you brush past like a scar you don't feel until someone points at it. Life had moved on. I'd transferred to a new apartment closer to work. My evenings were filled with yoga, new friends, and the kind of laughter that didn't carry any weight. Then, one Friday night, Tess convinced me to go with her to a friend's birthday party at a rooftop bar downtown. The city was glowing music, thumping people talking over clinking glasses. It felt normal. Until I saw him. Louis. He stood near the bar, nursing a drink, wearing that same casual half-smile that used to disarm me. But something about him was different now, a heaviness around his eyes, a tension in his posture. For a moment our eyes met. His widened just slightly, and I felt that old instinct, the one that used to make me straighten my shoulders and prepare to be calm for him. But it didn't come, not this time. He approached slowly, cautious, as if afraid I'd vanish. "Adriana," he said quietly. "Wow, you look incredible." "Thanks," I replied, polite but distant. He hesitated. "Can we talk just for a minute?" Every part of me wanted to say no, but there was something in his tone softer, stripped of arrogance. I nodded once. We stepped aside to a quieter corner near the railing. The city lights shimmered below us. He took a deep breath. "I owe you an apology." I didn't say anything, just watched him. He continued. "That post, it was the stupidest thing I've ever done. I thought I was being funny clever. But it was cruel. You didn't deserve that. You were the best thing that ever happened to me, and I threw it away because I didn't want to admit I was scared. Scared of what I asked softly. Of being ordinary," he said. "You made me feel safe. Too safe. And I thought that meant I was settling. But I wasn't. I was just at peace. I didn't know how to handle that." For a brief moment, something tugged at me, pity maybe, or memory. The boy I used to love was flickering behind those tired eyes. "I've thought about you every day," he said. "Every single one. I can't move on. You were my home." I let him finish, then smiled faintly. "Louis, you once told the world you were settling for me, and now you're saying I was your home." He swallowed hard. "I didn't mean—" "You did," I said gently. "Maybe not with malice, but with truth. Because deep down you thought I was the safe choice. The boring one. The woman who'd never leave no matter how much you chipped away at her." His eyes glistened. "That's not fair." "It's honest," I said. "You weren't scared of being ordinary Louis. You were scared of loving someone who saw through you." He fell silent. I stepped closer, my voice calm but certain. "You made me your punchline, and I let you. But that version of me, the one who needed your approval to feel whole, she's gone." He blinked, stunned. "Adriana, please. I'm not asking to start over. I need you to forgive me." I tilted my head. "Forgiveness isn't silence, Louis. It's peace. And I already have mine." For a second, the city wind caught his breath. He looked smaller somehow, like a man finally realizing the joke had never been funny. He whispered, "You really won't come back." I smiled. "You had me once, Lewis, and you made it a caption." Then I turned and walked away. As I joined Tess near the bar, she raised an eyebrow. "Was that who I think it was?" "Yeah," I said, picking up my drink. "What did he want?" "To rewrite the ending." She grinned, and I told him I don't play sequels. Tess let out a low whistle. "That's cold." "Not cold," I said quietly. "Just done." We clinked glasses, laughter blending with the music as the night rolled on. Behind me, I could still feel Lewis's gaze, not angry this time, not defiant, just lost. But I didn't turn back, because sometimes walking away isn't an ending. It's the only way to start again. By the time autumn rolled around, Lewis had become nothing more than a faint echo, the kind of name that no longer stirred emotion, just distant memory. I was thriving in ways I didn't even know were possible. Work had promoted me to team lead. My new apartment had floor-to-ceiling windows that caught the sunrise. I spent my weekends reading in cafes or taking solo road trips just because I could. Peace didn't mean loneliness anymore. It meant freedom. Then, one evening, Tess called, voice buzzing with gossip. "You're going to want to sit down for this," she said. "Josh's wedding, Lewis is on the guest list." I froze for a second, then laughed. "Of course he is. You're still going, right?" "Yes," I said after a moment. "Why should I hide? It's my story, too." And so I went. The wedding was beautiful, string lights, soft music, the kind of warmth that made you believe in love again. I wore a navy satin dress, simple but confident. As I entered the hall, I felt a few heads turn, some surprised, some approving. Then I saw him. Lewis was seated at his side table alone. He looked smaller. His suit was pressed, his smile practiced, but the spark, that smug little gleam of superiority, was gone. Our eyes met for half a heartbeat. He stood, hesitated, then walked over. "Hey," he said softly, "you look amazing." "Thank you," I replied, calm and even. He swallowed. "I wasn't sure you'd come." "I wasn't sure either," I said. "But I don't run from ghosts." He tried to smile, but it faltered. "I've thought about what I said that day. A lot. I ruined something real. You were the best thing I ever had." I tilted my head. "You didn't ruin something real, Lewis. You ruined someone real." He blinked, stung. "I didn't mean it the way it sounded," he whispered. "It was stupid." "Maybe I said, but it was honest. You meant it when you wrote it. Maybe you thought it was a joke, but jokes come from truth. You saw me as safe, as temporary something to appreciate quietly, but never brag about." He exhaled shakily. "I don't anymore. I see it now." "I know," I said softly, "but that doesn't change who you were." He looked at me for a long time, his voice cracking. "Can we start over? No captions. No jokes. Just us." I smiled, not bitterly, not cruelly, just gently. "You once called me a placeholder, Lewis, but I was never the one settling. You were." His mouth opened, but no words came out. "You made me a punchline," I said quietly, and I turned it into a lesson. Then I stepped back, the music swelling around us. He whispered almost to himself, "You really moved on, didn't you?" I nodded. I already did. As I turned to leave, he called out one last time, "Does he make you happy?" I paused, glanced over my shoulder. "He doesn't make me happy, Lewis. I already was. He just noticed." The look on his face, that blend of regret and realization, was the final closure I never got to have. I rejoined my friends at the table. Tess handed me a glass of champagne. "Well?" she asked. "I'm free," I said simply. When the bride and groom took the floor for their first dance, I watched them, the way they laughed, the ease in their eyes, and felt something soft bloom inside me. Not jealousy, not nostalgia, just gratitude. Because sometimes the most powerful revenge isn't proving someone wrong. It's becoming someone they can no longer reach. Later that night, as I stepped outside into the crisp air, I pulled out my phone and opened a blank note. He called it settling. I call it beginning. And with that, I finally closed the story.